Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Jack's Business Talk. Today we have a special guest, Curtis Garner.
Hey Jack, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. I'm surprised it's taken this long. So, for those of you who don't know Curtis, he is PE turned RE, and I'm not going to put a bunch of words in his mouth, so I'll let him talk a little bit about his backstory.
Yeah, so I'm a PE and health teacher here in Washington State, about an hour south of Seattle. I started in real estate in 2022. I got my first house hack, and then last year I got my second house hack. So a couple years in, I'm at five doors and counting.
Don't forget to mention the house hack.
Oh yeah, so the way that I kind of came onto the map was the first house hack that I did was kind of extreme. I lived in about 200 square feet, had no shower, no kitchen, kind of just made do, but I was able to live for free. So there's that.
It takes a special type of person. Like there's different people in lives. There's the people that need to have everything, and there's the type of people that can live with a backpack on their back and be like, I have everything I need in my life.
Yeah, yeah. I think you and I both kind of go in that second group.
Oh yeah, I watch enviously on these people that have sliding truck campers. I'd be like, I could totally do that. I could totally do that.
Yeah, I think it was Mark, financial firefighter. He sent me a picture of a super van. He said, "Hey man, you could just house that van."
I I was joking with Zuber at one point. I told him I was like, one of my goals is I want to buy a house, preferably like a duplex or something next to the river, and then I'm gonna do a camper van and park in my driveway of the duplex so I can live in a van down by the river.
Perfect. Oh man, that's good.
So besides these cheesy, corny jokes that we've had here for the last few minutes, we're here to talk about stop being right. And I know this sounds kind of contradicting, and especially for a phys ed teacher, I'm sure you have to give exams and stuff. But when have you ever told your students to stop being right?
Yeah, that doesn't really work out too much. But I will say a few of the things that we're going to talk about can actually apply to school too, right? Like the kids want to be correct, but they don't make an effort because they're like, oh, I don't want to be wrong. Well, it's sometimes better to just give the effort so I can make the correction.
I just had another thought on top of everything. So, and I don't want to forget, so I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit. So, one of the things that they tell you to do is you have to like take your test by yourself and stuff, and you can't work in a community, and you're not allowed to use your resources around you. But once you're out of the school atmosphere, you're allowed to use your resources around you, and you're allowed to use the people next to you as long as you know they're not someone that's going to completely sabotage you, but like you can use the people around you and your resources around you so you don't have to worry about being wrong. You just have to take steps forward. So that's my thought that wasn't recorded.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Although I will say with AI and everything like that, we're starting to see a shift in the schools. I'm not sure how it was when you were in school, but we used to have like these like foldable binders so you couldn't peek around to see other people's answers. Well, now it's becoming a little bit more collaborative, but students have to still present their own work.
Okay.
Mhm.
I was always told to go face the corner.
Fix the corner, yeah.
So the first thing I have on here is Stop over analyzing.
Mm, hmm.
How's that
Yeah,
catch you?
yeah. I think that's probably more for those that are still maybe haven't done their first deal yet, or maybe have only done one. Right? The paralysis through analysis, right? You look deal after deal after deal. You're trying to figure out what am I missing, but you don't ever take that action step.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to have to learn at a point where having, how should I say, more information should make your job easier in making your decision. And just because you're not finding anymore doesn't mean that you haven't, that you're going to have to make a conscious decision at some point to make the step forwards to achieving your goal in the end. You can't just stay there analyzing every deal until, you know, it goes off the market. Eventually, you're going to have to
Hmm.
make that leap to make to go forward and hopefully start working your way out of your W-2 job.
Yeah. So how many deals did you probably like look at before you bought the first one,
Like I actually went to in person.
or just
I
analyzed?
I probably analyzed over 120,
Hmm.
and I did that in probably like because my mark was slower. It probably took me close to like a year and a half to get that many. I wasn't looking at some of the areas I'm looking at now, which have a lot of properties that come on the market, which is why I switched. But I analyzed about 120 of them. I was at 10 of them, and I bought one.
Hmm.
How about you?
I think that's what's yeah, I think that's I don't know if there was ever 120 even in my area. So I just got good at it was probably around like 50-ish. Just because that was what was in the area at the time. Now, the skill of analyzing is very important. We're not saying not to analyze. We are saying though there is a certain point where okay, once you're good enough at the skill to take action.
And there's times where that you may have to go back and have someone review your spreadsheets and stuff. And a perfect example of this is the recording from the week prior to when this video is going to go up, is I had Dylan on, and because I'm looking at more commercial stuff out in his area, I had him look at my spreadsheets and be like, okay, what am I missing? Going from residential to commercial, what am I missing in this stuff? And he had some things that he told me to add in there, and it's things that I missed that I would have thought about
Mhm,
because it's just things that I don't think about because me being in my area, I just take
mhm.
care of it.
True.
So, you ready for the second one?
Yep.
Okay, second one. Stop hopping from idea to idea.
Mm, yes, the jack of all trades but master of none type of idea there.
Yeah.
I think that can definitely happen when you go down the YouTube like the rabbit hole, right? You see house hacking, you see fix and flip, you see Burr, you see creative finance, you see all these things, and you're like, oh wow, these are all awesome, but you don't get good at any of them, or you don't even attempt them to figure out what fits you, and then you end up doing and then nothing at all because you're overwhelmed.
Yeah. And when I was putting that in, I was even thinking along the lines of we have certain people, and grants, this is really individually based, but there's some people that shouldn't be trying to do like one or two businesses at the same time as they're trying to buy rentals and stuff. And those people, a lot of them, they're trying to buy more rentals at a much quicker rate than we are. So they're almost trying to do work their W-2 job and basically work they're one or two businesses plus buy rentals. So it's like they're, basically almost working four full-time jobs. It's like, okay, well, what else do you have time for? Like, do you even sleep? How do you have
Yeah.
time for snacks and naps? So, I mean, that's really what's important in life.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, some of these people are go, 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 and I'm like, something has to give here, or it's gonna give out at the wrong time.
Yeah. And I don't know who said it, but it's something, and I don't even know exactly how he said it, but something like along the lines of, if you don't make time for it now, you'll be forced to make time for it in the future, whether it be your health or
Mm.
your marriage or, you know, your, he gone. But so you just have to keep that in mind with what you're working on, because eventually you're going to be forced to make the time, and it's not going to be at a very convenient time for you. Oh, he come back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I just kept talking without you. I just finished up my point.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, anything else you have to say on that one?
No, no, I think that one is very easy to understand. Right? If you chase five rabbits, you won't catch one.
I never did understand that saying. Like you can't chase a rabbit and catch it anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
like who made that goofy saying? Like, a penny in the hand is worth two in the bush. No, you're still broke.
you're so broke. Yeah, that one I really don't understand. So like the rabbit one, I can kind of get, but the one in the hand, the two in the bush, I really don't understand that one.
So number three, stop wasting people's time.
Oh, this is a big one.
Yeah,
Um, and I think some people don't even know that they're doing it at times until you're on the other side and your time is the one that's being like just wasted. Um,
yeah,
like the example is the person comes to you. Well, so for those that don't know, I just got my agent's like license here, and so the person comes to you and say, "Hey, I would like to buy a house." Oh, all right, great. Have you talked to a lender? Are you pre-approved, right? And they are like, "Oh, I just wanted to go look." Well, I'm not going to take you to go look at houses until we know what you can afford.
yeah.
And then you give them like the resources. Okay, go talk to so and so, get your application in, and then they don't do it. It's like, well, okay, now what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, I have a friend, she just got her real estate license and her mom wants to buy a place and she's like, go get pre-approved. And then they had an argument. She was telling me about how she's not taking her to see houses or anything. She's like, you won't go get pre-approved. She's like, I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah.
But the same thing goes for contractors and stuff. Like, if you don't have the money to pay them in the end, don't be
Mm-hmm.
calling and wasting their time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, you're just looking for a ballpark bid as something that they can give you over the phone. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So one thing that you got to think about, I'm not sure how it is in your area, but at least in my area, a lot of them want to come to the house to see the thing to give the bid. Well, I'm very upfront with them because I'm like, hey, I don't want you to drive all the way out here, place a bid, and then not like get it. So I'll take pictures, I'll take some videos, I'll be as descriptive as possible and say, hey, I want to save you time so you don't got to make trips out,
yeah,
right? And so just being really conscientious of people's most valuable like resource, which is their time.
it goes both ways out here. And sometimes I'm just literally looking for a fast quote, and I'll just be like, I literally don't need you to come out and right now, and I'm not on the property to send you the pictures. I'm really just trying to budget for next year how much money I need to do. Can you just give me like a worst case scenario so I know it's not going to be over this amount?
Mm, hmm
As like, and when we get
I
closer, we can
can't heard of
actually,
that one.
I was like, and when we get to closer, you can actually make a real quote.
Hmm. Hmm. I might have to save that idea.
So, on the same lines, stop not valuing your time.
Yes, yes. So as I had said that your time is your most valuable resource, right? With as far as cash goes, you can always earn more, but you can't get your time back. And so who and what you spend it on needs to be really like valued and protected.
Yeah, and you don't need to be like Alex Hormozy, who goes, or like David Goggins, who just goes off the deep end and I can't talk to anyone. I must spend 60 days in isolation and focus solely on my business. You don't need to go that extreme, but you do need to rationalize and like different things that, like for example, Simon, uneducated economist, has talked about is when you start to think about things and pursuing excellence versus pursuing, I forget what word he uses, but we'll just call them wants. So like if you're going to the bar every night, getting drunk and hammered, you're not going to wake up the next day in tip-top shape to go to the gym.
Hmm.
So you need to start respecting your time and valuing it. And that even includes like to the people that you hang out with and stuff. They may not be a good influence on you, and you need to start to think about your your social network and the people you interact with. You might have to let some of the people go.
Hmm. True, true. And as you get better with placing those boundaries, you'll kind of see the signs earlier of a person that you should invest more time with versus the person that you maybe shouldn't invest more time with, right? Just you'll start to see the flags a little bit earlier, like, ooh, I'm going to kind of filter those out to people before I even waste my
Yeah. It and Zuber says it's the best, Paul. Audit your network.
time. Do you go to like meetups in your area or networking events?
I actually just started recently.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so I go to a lot of them. Like I average probably at least one per week. Sometimes it's multiple, just depends on what time of the month it is.
Yeah.
And there's a good chunk of folks that, depending on what type of event it is, that you're like, okay, I'm talking to this person. They're nice, but I need to move on to somebody
Yeah.
else. And so you'll kind of catch that vibe, and the more that people can do that, the more people that you can get in your like network that you actually want.
Yeah, I used to go to one all the time and I was getting into it. I was getting excited. I enjoyed networking there. And then like there's this one meeting in particular that left such a bad taste in my mouth that I never went back. And just to kind of summarize it real quick, I'm not going to give the name here, but everything's going fine. They had a lot of local guys. They would talk about different experiences. You can learn a lot from it. It was almost they were trying to be like kind of like bigger pockets in a lot of ways, but with local investors, and it was really cool to see that like
Mhm.
local guys can become big guys. But then they had this guy, and his name was John something. I can't remember his last name. It doesn't really matter. So his name's John something. But yeah, and he came on after the normal people talking about the local stuff, and then there was an attorney that always talks about something, the latest court cases in the area, and then this guy came on, and the whole rest of the night was going to be on him for like 2.5 hours. It's going to be just him, and he's selling it, trying to sell his course, and he was like one of those go to the back and sign up for my course, gatekeeping stuff. And his claim to fame was he's like, I manage Robert Kiyosaki's properties and blah 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 blah. We find out halfway through he doesn't manage them. He bought a good chunk of them all, is what he did.
Mhm.
And so, and it's just like do what I did and blah 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 blah. I'm one of the few people that can call, Robert this and blah blah blah. It's like, and it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I never went back to another one of their events. So like it made it even easier when they moved further away slightly. I was like, well, that just makes it even easier on why I'm never going back.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, those salesy events, yeah, those aren't really my cup of tea.
Yeah. So the next one is, I think we're gonna skip the next one for a minute because the other one kind of flows in what we're talking about a little bit better. And my screen went dark. Stop not treating yourself with respect. So, with everything that's going on in society today, and mental health being so important, and just everything that goes on, it's very important that you take care of yourself mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, mentally. I'm not sure how many more ways I could say mentally and using different words, but it's just important that you take care of yourself because if you're not taking care of yourself, no one else is going to take care of you, and you're not going to be around for those who care about you. And you hear time and time and time again from people that they would rather have gotten a phone call from you than be at your funeral.
hmm Yeah, yeah. And so I also teach health, so this is something that I teach kids, so I should probably practice it in myself, right? But it's being able to take care of yourself and kind of like block out time. Say, okay, these are the things that I enjoy to do, no matter how hectic things are. I have to make sure that I do them or I interact with the people that are in my life, right? Because work can take energy out of your cup, but what can you pour back into it so that way it can kind of keep in you going?
So why don't you talk a little bit about blocking time out? Like, is it best to do it in the
Mhm.
morning, evening?
Yeah, so it's really person to person. It's just like when can and you do it, and maybe it's not even every day. Like maybe you tell me, well, Curtis, on Mondays my day is full from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. All right, cool, man. I understand. We all have different schedules and lives, but if you can't do anything Monday, can you extend time on like Sundays? Like for me, Sundays is typically the day I go over to my mom's house. My mom's there, my brother's there, the dog is there, there's food there, right? So all these things that I love, there's a recliner that I can just put my feet up, right? So all the things that I love to do is there, and I just block out time, a couple hours, I'll go over there, right? Now, are there some Sundays and that I miss it? Absolutely, right? Like life happens, but if you can kind of make it a priority, say, hey, I'm going to time block. I'm going to go there. Or if you need something kind of throughout the week, maybe it's like the gym. And maybe you can't do a full hour in the gym. Maybe it's 30 minutes or going for a walk, right? It's finding things that you enjoy that puts energy back into your cup.
Yeah. And there's and once you get a rhythm into it, I'm sure that there's ways that you can make things quicker. So like instead of like when you go to the gym, going back into the locker area and have to change all your clothes and do maybe you want to just wear your clothes into the gym.
hmm Yeah, yeah. And like, so when I was house like at the first one where I didn't have a shower, it made it very easy for me to go to the gym because that's where my shower was, right? And so it's just finding ways in your life that make it easier to take care of yourself.
Was there ever a day where you just literally went there just to take a shower?
Oh yeah, and I felt so awkward. I just was like, "Oh, don't look at me, front desk." But I just go in, come right back out. They're like, "Have a nice day."
You're so polite. So the last thing we have is stop treating your businesses as a hobby and treat them more like a real business.
Mm. I think this is a tough one for some people to get, especially at the beginning, right? Especially if your first one is like a house hack, because it doesn't really feel like a business because you live there.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh, this is kind of like my home, right? Like it doesn't really feel like that. But the sooner you can pivot from this hobby or the thing that I do on the side to this is like the business, I feel like one, it's going to open more opportunities because now your eyes are open to more things. But two, it's going to allow people to take you more like seriously too,
Hmm.
and then open more opportunities like that way.
Yeah, some people think of it like Pinocchio. It- like, I'll be a real business when I have this may be this big. And it's just like,
Hmm.
no, you were a real business when the carpenter was done carving, the final carves of the puppet. Like,
Hmm.
you're in this now. Like, you know, you have to learn how to scan your tenants and put them. I'm just using real estate because we're both in real estate. You have to, scan your tenants, put the correct ones into your place. You don't want to put the wrong tenant and then have to do a rehab and have to do an eviction, within a year after just putting them in there.
Hmm.
You have to make sure that all your, how to say, like, you want to make sure everything is taken care of in a timely manner. Like, you want to make sure that you have the money and reserves to make sure you handle everything. Like you're a real business and you need to treat it as such.
Yeah, and one thing that folks may or may not understand is that if you have a normal W-2 job, for some people, you can leave it there. Like for my a teaching job, the teacher complaint emails don't come through to me. I don't get calls from my principal to come back to the school, right? And so that's done at 2:10. Boom, that's over. But in my business, this phone can ring at any time for anything about any problem, and I have to be ready to respond. And you got to make sure that you're aware that's what you're signing up for.
So if you don't want to be woken up at 2 in the morning about the exploding toilet, you,
Knock on wood, but that's never happened. You will appreciate this story though. So one time I was napping. I was napping really, really good too, like lines on the side of my face type of nap, and and then my phone's just blowing up. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're ruining my nap. Okay, so I answer. Apparently, there was like a small dog fight between my tenants at a duplex. One got through the fence and they were just going at it. It was crazy. It was a bad way to be woken up. But I had to answer the phone. I had to be like responsive to all the issues that was going on. That doesn't happen in my normal job, right? But in the business world, you got to always be prepared.
yeah. I'm kind of at the point now when it comes to toilets. I know Dion and Lumberjack and then Pop. Actually, I'm not sure about Lumberjack, but I know Dion normally says that, just leave the toilet, run it till it breaks, all that kind of stuff. Every time I've done that, within a year or two, the toilet breaks. So I'm at the point now where I'm just going to go every time I buy a new rental property, I'm going to just replace them with Gerber Vipers, and that way I'll never have another toilet call ever again because I think the Gerber Viper, I installed two into Cynthia's place. I swear you can probably flush a python down them. They just I have not seen one of these clog yet. They're actually pretty
Oh,
impressive. And it's not even the Gen
good to
2. I
know.
can't imagine how much better that one is.
Yeah, I just I wrote that down. So good to know.
I'm just hoping the Gen 2 doesn't get me into a lawsuit for like I mean I just don't want to see someone all dressed up for a fancy event. They have a tie and they flush a toilet and it just rips the tie off and down the thing and decapitates the poor person. I mean I don't want to have that phone call. That's gonna be kind of awkward.
That would be quite the phone call. Oh, jeez.
So do you have anything else you'd like to add?
After that one, I don't know if there is anything and that I can add. Um, but I think the the gist of what we were trying to say with a lot of these is that it's not going to be perfect, but you got to take steps in that direction to be the best that you can be.
Yeah. You're never going to get to the finish line if you never leave the couch.
Hmm. And if you're not sure what the next steps are, reach out to somebody that's kind of a few steps ahead of you. You may not get the top person right, with a Zuber. If Zuber responds to your question, great. But if someone that's a couple steps ahead of you can answer the question for you a little bit faster, feel free to reach out to me or Jack or anybody else in our community. I know we always try to help out.
Or harass you.
We do both very well.
So until next time, thank you for tuning into this episode of Jack's Business Talk.